We will call to order. Roll call. We are all here. Do we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda. I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Agenda has been approved. Approval of the minutes for the board meeting, March 26, 2026 that were presented. I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Minutes have been accepted. Claims and accounts.
Claims and accounts for March 26, 2026 through April 9th, 2026. Claims in the amount of $49,752.87. EFTs, $348,901.
Nope, you're on the wrong ones.
Say, wait a minute.
What?
Nope, those are the right ones. Those are the last oons.
It should be a single page by itself.
Should be 24,540.
Did I put it in Lloyd's paper?
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Just say this. Yeah, nice. For accounts, claims and accounts for March 27th, 2026 through April 9th. Claims in the amount of $24,546.16. EFTs, $242,599.46. Desk checks, $308,226.51. Grand total of $575,872.13. And motion to approve the claims and accounts for March 27th, 2026 through April 9th, 2026.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have motion support. Any discussion? Roll call, please. Hamlin.
Yes.
Madison.
Yes.
Brent.
Yes.
Hardees. Yes. Peltier.
Yes.
We are to limited public comment. Please refrain from any personal attacks, and county employees and electeds are requested to be, request to be on the agenda to speak during public comment time. Is there any public comment?
Yes.
Can you come forward, please? Yeah. Two. And you're each going to speak?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so two.
Good morning. My name is Joe Boucher, and I'm with the MCOA Board Chairman. On behalf of the Montmorency County Commission of Aging, I would like to take a few moments to provide a clear and factual overview regarding the Atlanta Senior Center. Over the past several years, MCOA has worked to operate and support 3 senior centers within our county in 2023. The cost to utilize the centers was $70 per day. Through the significant effort, documentation and communication, the cost was reduced to $57 in 2024. Despite these efforts, operational expense continued to rise. We have experienced substantial increase on food costs, staffing, and regulatory requirements. Notably, food establishment license fees increased from $265 to $600 per location, impacting all 3 centers. In addition, MCOA responsible for staffing, compliance, and kitchen operation at each site. At the same time, attendance at the Atlanta location remained consistently low, averaging between 5 and 15 participants per day. when our evaluating and responsibility to taxpayers and the sustainability to our service, it became clear that continuing to operate these three centers was no longer financially feasible. At the 2025-26 fiscal year, McCoa made the difficult necessary decision that we could not commit to operate all three locations. No agreement was reached for continuing the use of the Atlanta facility. And McCoa now has most of the equipment and materials. In effect, to continue the support of the community, a final proposal was discussed to provide meal deliveries and no cost for facility use. However, due to the legal guidance, those services were not initiated. Since the time, the building has experienced a roof collapse and is currently unusable. Throughout the entire process, McCoa has maintained transparency. We have provided financial reports, supporting documentation, and a full PowerPoint presentation during outlining cost and operation. We remain fully willing to provide any additional information request. It is important that the statement that at no time has McCoa or its representatives spoken negatively against the Atlanta Senior Center and community. Our focus has been and will continue to be serving all seniors in the county and with fairness, respect, and integrity. We respectfully ask that anyone with questions or concerns review the available information and come directly to us. We are committed to operate in accountability. Our decisions has been based solely on fiscal responsibility and ensuring that we can continue to provide a service to all seniors across the county. Thank you.
Hello, I think everybody knows me. I'm Beverly Crawford. I'm the Executive Director at Montmorency Commission on Aging. And I would just like to make a few statements of what McCoa is more than just meals. McCoa operates as part of Region 9 Area Agency through the Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency, serving a 12 county region. Our funding comes from a combination of federal, state, and USDA programs, along with the county millage and local donations. To receive services, individuals must be at least 60 years or older and reside in Montmorency County. Income is not a barrier, and our goal is to ensure that every senior within our county gets the access to the support they need. McCoa currently operates meal programs out of Hillman and Lewiston, where we provide daily congregate meals and prepare home-delivered meals for homebound seniors. These meals are well balanced and nutritious, and all are welcome to attend. Seniors are asked for a suggested donation rate of $3.50 per meal, while those under 60 may participate for a cost of $12 per meal. Each day, McCoa staff are in homes throughout the county providing essential services such as personal care, homemaking, respite, and nursing services through the RN and LPN staff. We also offer transportation, medical assistance, wellness checks, telephone reassurance, and access to vital health resources. We are proud to provide additional support through our programs such as the My Choice Waiver Services, Senior Project Fresh, Veterans Assistance, and access to incontinence supplies and medical equipment through our loan closet. McCoa also works closely with other agencies to connect seniors with hospice care, home repair programs, emergency heating and utility assistance, legal services, food pantries, commodities, and medical alert systems. Our work is only possible with the help of volunteers who assist with transportation, companionship, and more. We are always welcoming those who wish to give back to our community. At its core, McCoa is committed to supporting the independence, dignity, and well-being of every senior in Montmorency County. So it's not just about meals, and it's not just about the care. It's about providing a full network of support to those who need it most. And if you have any questions or concern, or you know anybody that could benefit from our services, all you have to do is you can go to our website or stop into the office. All the information is there. We have also prepared a book of who we are. You can stop in and see everything. It has the board members, it has who works there, what their job descriptions are, what services we provide, our bylaws, our financial policies, our general policies, everything is at your fingertips in that book. So I encourage everyone to visit the office or our website. Public comment?
Doug Morrison from Hellman. I would like to have reconsideration of the board to put public comment in for the second time like it used to be. I don't understand why you don't want that to happen, other than maybe you don't want to hear me talk twice. The other thing that I wanted to ask about was, for a long time, I used to come up here and ask a question. I was told that you guys ain't here to answer questions. And I can understand that, because I don't want a quick answer to the question that I ask you. All I ask is, if the following meeting that you could answer the question that anybody asks you, because I feel that's important. I felt it was an important enough question to ask. I don't understand why you don't think it's important enough to answer. So I think that you should be answering the questions. And the other thing I wanted to ask about check and balances. I don't know if your auditor ended up finding the $877,347, but I'm curious to know if he did find it and how much money did he actually find. The last thing that I want to ask about is, I was against the leasing of the cop cars a long time ago. My question to the board is where are you coming up with a payment every month for that when you're already in a bind on payments that you're paying as it is? So that's my questions, and thank you very much.
Public comment?
Good morning, William Houston, trustee, Atlanta Senior Center. Even though our center sustained major damage, we are now using the VFW hall on Pettinger, which is an opportunity for congregate meals to be delivered. It'll be interesting to review the minutes from several of the last McCullough meetings when they disclaimed open transparency, community engagement. However, they're going to limit the contact and communication with Denny Davis and myself. You should also remember that McCullough is a nonprofit. Presque Isle has 2 centers. They have fewer congregate meals than we have in Atlanta, but they still maintain that. As far as revenues taken from the audits, here's the data, which indicates that revenues are, at least in some areas, constant, if not increasing. And there's no reason we shouldn't have congregate meals, etc. We're paying for the service with taxes, therefore we should have congregate meals. Thank you.
Public comment? I would like to state, we're audited twice yearly. Yesterday, we just had another one. And if anybody is interested in seeing those numbers and what those results were, they will be posted on our website. So you can look there for yourself or come right to the office. I'd be happy to give them all to you.
Public comment?
One more thing. Sorry. Just so you guys are aware of the numbers of meals and stuff that we have prepared, just in March, the totals for home delivered and congregate for March were 3,982 meals out of Hillman and Lewiston. Also, just in-home clients that are our girls, we have 9 girls that go into people's home. 80 clients were seeing multiple hours during that time.
Well, how many of my meals went to seniors? Congregate meals went to the Atlanta.
Atlanta seniors have been, talked to, called, phone reassurances, have been offered transportation to one of the two others. We have seen an increase in Lewiston and Hillman for,
So none have been delivered to Atlanta like we were told was gonna happen to begin with, when you closed it up.
because of legal guidance, we were,
What was the
told
legal
not-
guidance? You can, or you do it if you want, or you can do it if you don't want it, or can't do it if you don't want it.
it is in the,
So what is the legal guidance? Can you give me a summary of it?
of the legal guidance.
Yeah, that's not
Until-
allowing you to deliver them to Atlanta.
Well, right now, the roof is collapsed. We cannot do that. We have not reached a contract. We cannot start anything until we reach a decision. And per our last meeting, an arrangement was made, but due to, the record audio of the meeting where the county or the board members, wanted to start the meals and did vote that they would start the meals. There was a public comment made during that time, and the audio, the lawyer suggested we wait until we get a contract with them. And before we did that, the roof collapsed. And we have been searching for another place, but I was unaware that the VFW was being used. So however,
So none were delivered in the whole time since it closed. Not one meal was delivered.
on September 30th, Mr. Houston put a no trespassing sign on his building, refusing to let Macoa to even come in. So, and then in January, he sent us a letter of what had to be done and dated of when our stuff had to be out of the senior center. So after the legal counsel guidance said, until you come up with a contract to work with them, he suggested not to start services. So there's multiple things
About
that have
home
gone
delivery
on.
meals, are any of them being delivered?
I'm sorry,
Are any home delivery meals?
they're
being
all
delivered?
being
They're all
delivered.
being delivered.
Well, I heard it was only when you have a driver, which isn't very often.
We have 3 drivers, one for Hillman, one for Atlanta, one for Lewiston. Every day, meals are delivered to as scheduled where they are. The only thing this affects was the congregate meal setting at the Atlanta Senior Center. We have not stopped services within any part of this county. We are at from one end of it to the other, and our services go on daily.
Thank you.
Maybe so.
Okay, we will go on. Special presentations, none. Department head reports, there was nothing requested. Committee reports.
I'm not.
Lloyd?
Yeah, I have Thunder Bay Transportation. It was one of the shortest meetings we've had. One of the things that we did get a report on was the building repair update. They started that about a month ago, but because of all of the snow and the ice and the horrible winds, that's been going very, very slow. However, they have been making forward progress on repairing that roof. And when they can, as the roof gets repaired, they start repairing the walls and everything on the inside too. So that's moving right along. We have received a grant for the community foundation, 5,000 under the community impact for our wellness ride program, 3,000 for the senior wellness, and 1,250 for our youth wellness program. So that's good. And our rides to wellness, RTW, we had 65 of them in February, which is up. So everything moving along really good. That's all I got.
Bob?
Just the landfill. Dune levels were a little bit high from all the melting we had in the previous week. And, we injected almost 14 million gallons. Working on installing some dozer fencing to keep debris down. We talked about working with a natural gas company Riverside Energy to convert our natural gas or gas from the landfill into natural gas to resell it. That's in the preliminary stages of getting bids and quotes, and just it'll take probably a good year before we ever really know what we're gonna do as far as if we're gonna go ahead with it or not. Watch it.
Also from the landfill, Michelle LaRose, thanks everyone for support run for the MOA. Injection well not running currently. And the information, the Riverside Gas Company, if anybody wants to see this, that's what they're doing in conjunction with the landfill, where they can put in wells around there to help get the gas out. Going to work with them. That's it.
And I just had the SPS, and Michelle has given that report already. And as far as answering questions, the Board of Commission, we have emails that are available. You can email us, you can ask to meet with us, you can get a phone number from the BOC or office. We take questions. You can always contact us. There's availability there. And the question on the audit is, it is pending. April said that came out last month, that our audit is this month. So we will know more about the audit for the county once that has been completed.
How long does it typically take? A month or weeks?
Well, it takes a couple weeks usually, and then for them to do the report, we usually get the report by June-ish, July.
The report's due to the state by June 30th. They will come and usually present to you in the first or second week in June, and then get approval to submit it.
Yeah. Controllers report.
The camera and access door systems, we're moving forward with EPS to install the new camera and door access systems for both the county building and the sheriff's department. They are scheduling, actually, they start next week out at the sheriff's department, running all the preliminary wires and everything for all the stuff out there. So they'll get their stuff going, and then they'll be working here. We were able to get all 4 projects for $65,913.15 with no service fees for the first year. So that's $8,832 savings that we're going to have. That we did have budgeted some service fees for this year for this process. So that'll be a savings to our budget. We have a contract in place for 5 years with this new equipment, and like I just said, I budgeted. I also am submitting for that full project to MIRMA for reimbursement, which is a 50% reimbursement. The grant's completed, we'll be submitting that into them. So hopefully we can get $30,000 back from MIRMA for this project.
And the county access doors, that's this building, the back building.
Yep, both buildings, and then the sheriff's department as well, and new camera systems. Congressionally directed spending, I talked about that senators had reached out that they had a program that you could submit projects to them. So I submitted a request. I worked with Sarah on this and I talked to Chad about it as well, but we submitted to Gary Peters and Alyssa Slotkin for emergency communications, dispatch, and operations modernization. There's no guarantee we'll get it. The project could be up to $650,000 worth of federal or state funding that we could get from them if they do approve it, which in that project, and I gave you guys a copy of it, would be an complete update to our dispatch center, new consoles, new equipment, helping with maybe a possible redesign and upgrade it to the sheriff's department completely, a mobile command center for the emergency management, permanent EOC, all new brand new radios for the county, which the encryption isn't, we're going to need new radios. It's going to be very expensive. That's like $230,000 right there. So those are all things submitted to this congressionally directed spending request. So if we get any approval for it, even if we get some funds, it could help with some of those projects. The MEDC food grant, we received a $200,000 from MEDC, and 9 counties ended up participating out of the 12. Each county received $22,222.22. We distributed those funds to all those counties, and then those counties will distribute to their local pantries. And then Sarah and I are working on getting distributed to the county pantries in our county. I was approved for the MIRMA RAP grant for the body cameras. A while ago, this is the 4th year of the 5th year that we had the body camera that was done for the sheriff's department. It was $10,812 a year annual contract. And we had ARPA funds that paid for the first 2 years. And then I submitted to Myrma, and they are approving us up to $21,624 as well. So we can get that reimbursed to us for that project. The auditors will be on site starting Tuesday, April 21st. MERS education is June 22nd at 10 a.m. A lot of everybody's starting to log into their new Empower accounts. There's been a couple of hiccups. People have had questions, but the contact customer service, they're pretty good at helping people get in, and they've gotten everybody in. And we're working through the bugs on that. I still have not heard back from Eagle on the soil erosion ordinance. So once we hear back from them, we'll get that on the agenda for approval. And then we have the MCOA millage language approval. That's going to be on the agenda for April 23rd BOC meeting. And I just wanted to, again, remind that this millage is not just for food services, it's for all their health services for seniors in Montmorency County too. So it'll be on the agenda on the 23rd for you guys to approve that language so they can put it on the ballot. The other items are agenda items, but there's just one other thing I wanted to touch base on. There was comments about the budget and maybe some confusion on the budget. So I gave you guys a preliminary budget the last meeting. And it was just, that's the amounts that we did before we have any audits. And with the audit every year, the auditors will come in, and because tax settlements, sometimes we get them in January, February, sometimes even into March. There's things that come in that actually belong to 2025 as revenue. So there's accruals that need to be taken care of by the auditors. We have deferred income that we had from 2024 that actually comes into 2025. That'll get put into our revenues. So that $600,000 that I said that will be done with the revenues is usually from all those different accruals from 24 and 26. Our budget surplus for the year was $80,000, and it stays at that. And our fund balances in the general fund is 1.8 million. We have a budget stabilization fund balance of 603,000. The police sheriff millage has a fund balance of 150,000. The conservation millage for used to be the gypsy moth, we have a fund balance of almost 30,000. The EDC fund, we have a fund balance of 152,000. The building department has a fund balance of 91,000. The opioid settlement fund has a fund balance of 155,000. The Veterans Treatment Court has an extra fund balance of 121,000. The delinquent tax revolving fund has a fund balance of 2.6 million. The county foreclosure fund has a fund balance of 2.2 million. Personal contingency fund, we have $531,000. The county improvement fund, we have 494,000. Emergency services fund, we have 101,000. This was the new fund we created in last year. We put 50,000 of that from our general fund revenue into that. And we also put anything that was any budget surplus in the sheriff's department and in emergency management went to that fund to be used for projects that they might have. And then the OPEB fund, 250,000. That's the money that's sitting in MERS for payment of our healthcare savings plans. So grand total of fund balances available to us for these occurrences, $9,386,167.17. I also wanted to note that could be higher if the $600,000, I'm estimating about $600,000 of accruals, that would actually make it 9.986 million. And there was a comment about the leases for the cars. Those are already budgeted in our budget. So there's no extra cost to us. That's already been planned for. Those are expenses we planned for in our budget already. And since those cars have not come and won't come in probably till August, we'll have a savings there because we won't start that until the middle. So we'd already planned for those costs. Any questions?
Any questions? No. No discussion items, unfinished business, nothing. New business, the motion to begin the union negotiations and possible LOA for captain position.
So yesterday, Chad came and talked to me, and the feasibility of having a captain position, he's no longer comfortable with. So we're just going to do a motion to authorize the union negotiations. And then on another part of that, Chad was requesting that you guys discuss the undersheriff position and the potential benefit alignment and how we can work with that. So he would want to talk about that. So I just need a motion first to do the union negotiation, and then you can hear anything that, about the next part.
I'd make the motion to authorize the controller, administrator to initiate collective bargaining discussions with the POLC, including soliciting union proposals and developing a preliminary successor agreement for board consideration.
I'll second that.
Motion and support. Any discussion about opening the union negotiation? None. All in
Find
favor?
out from Chad later why he's not comfortable with it anymore.
This
Yes.
is just for the union negotiations.
Yeah,
This
no, I
motion.
know.
So all in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion to begin the union negotiations has passed. So the second,
The second part of that was the undersheriff position, and we were talking about looking at a captain position. And we had some concerns because if you have a captain position, that position is now a union position. And we all know with unions come grievances, and if you have somebody that's supposed to be working directly under you and helping you, it's kind of hard to have them in a union and working. So Chad basically, like we kind of, his synopsis is him on an island by himself. And that wasn't something he was interested in doing anymore after talking to other sheriffs. But Chad, would you like to interject?
Sure, no, like April
Chad,
said,
you want to come up?
sure. Like April said, we've had a few meetings and having some discussions on this. We know of at least one other that's Escoda. It kind of created a captain position in lieu of the undersheriff position. Now, there can be some benefit to that, but speaking with other sheriffs and just evaluating that position more, it would present more issues to the office moving forward, specifically as you stated, not having that separation of that number two out of the union versus in the union could create some issues. So the undersheriff is statutorily is meant to be there for specific reasons, and they're very, very valid reasons. So the idea of moving to the captain position after just some discussion and then again some deliberations with the Sheriff's Association, we kind of took that off the table, saying that wouldn't be best for the office in general, especially long term. So again, what I'm asking the board is to have some continued dialogue on both current and moving forward for that undersheriff position, because as we kind of had discussed previously, the issue I'm having is I'm going to be dealing with retirement, and I'm going to have to be replacing that position. And the way the current setup goes is there's still that like unintended consequence of the exposure of somebody that's coming, God willing, everybody wants to promote from, I want to promote from within the office and carry on somebody to that position. And with the current setup, that individual has potential to lose benefits immediately upon exiting the union. So what I'm asking the board is to see if there's an entertainment to sit down and have a conversation to continue benefits for the individual that is going to be promoted to that number two, so that they don't lose a benefit because they're taking on that leadership role. And again, I am talking current and future. I understand that. But that is what I'm asking. And the reason I'm bringing this up and why I started sitting down with April, and we've had some good conversations, is I have some urgency to this. So right now, if I want to replace that individual, I don't even know what I'm offering that individual sitting across from me. And the way it's set up currently is, depending on that individual situation, they automatically will lose a benefit that they have within the union. And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
So what you're talking about is that they retain all their union benefits?
Specifically, it would be just those retirement benefits. So it'd be both pension and retirement benefits. The rest of the stuff is obviously they don't have grievance rights. They don't have those kind of union benefits, but they're not losing their vested benefits is what I'm speaking to. I'm not talking union rights. I only want them to keep the benefits that they've had. If they've worked here for 5 years or 15 years, they're not losing benefits because they take on a leadership role outside of the union.
What are those specific ones? You're talking, what do the union benefits? What's the difference between the union and the county is what I'm asking.
Well, it would be 100%. It'd be the situation we talked about when a transition happened last year. So it's going to be that if somebody has vested interest, and This doesn't, obviously, I'm talking specifically about the sheriff's office. This issue affects other individuals, but specifically for the sheriff's office, for me to promote somebody out of the union, if they have a vested medical, retiree health, that immediately is lost the moment they promote or they take on a leadership role. And I feel like personally, I feel like through dialogue, I feel we can sit down and come to again, an agreement. And I understand that's an agreement, but as I'm trying to succession plan, I cannot even, for me to sit across from somebody and say, I want you to be number two, and that individual even wants to be number two, they're automatically losing a benefit they currently have right now. I'm not asking for anything more, obviously. This isn't they're not gaining anything. They're just not losing anything, nor should they.
That's if they're within the county.
Sure, yeah. If it's somebody hired from outside, they're a new employee, 100%.
For instance, there's 12 deputies. Out of the 12 deputies, 3 of them already are part of the healthcare savings plan. They're not part of the retiree health because they're new deputies.
Correct.
The other 9 are part of the retiree health plan. And out of the 9, 3 are vested. They've had their 15 years of service put into that, and the other 6 are not to the 15 years. So if you promoted any of those deputies, depending on who he chose, if it's one of the 3 that are not healthcare savings or that have healthcare savings plan, it wouldn't affect them. It's not going to be a change for them. If it's one of the other 9, it would affect their retirement benefits. What he's saying, they would no longer have the retiree health insurance that pays for insurance from 55 to 65. They would have the healthcare savings plan by switching to a non-union position.
And the goal here again, because no matter what moving forward, there's going to be different plans. You know, the county is going to make transitions in healthcare, retirement, things like that. What I'm asking this board is to, again, current, future, but not make somebody lose benefits because they're taking on a leadership role. That's all. I think it was an unintended consequence from a decision made, but nonetheless, I do believe we can sit down and come to an agreement on if somebody takes on a leadership role, they don't lose benefits. And yes, I am talking current and future.
But with a captain's position, you wouldn't have to have any of these conversations.
Well, with a captain's position, would I have to have any of these conversations? I guess the short answer would be no, but the captain's position creates a ton of other exposures to the office in general. And again, the captain position, I understand, is a short-term fix, and literally I only know of one sheriff's office that has a captain in lieu of a undersheriff. And they had to do it for very specific reasons. I don't think, we're not at that office, and I don't want to set the next sheriff up for that position either. It's the meaning of the undersheriff is very constitutional, and it's important that there's a separation from those individuals and not being in the union, just for a balance, for discipline, for et cetera, for union negotiations. You know, the creation of the captain position would create far more issues that I don't think, I can tell you personally, I don't think it's best for any sheriff coming up behind me. So that's why I'm taking that off the table. I'm not approaching the union on it at all. It's not the right choice for the office, especially long-term. All what I'm asking for is to have a conversation. I want to know if this board is willing to entertain that, because I have to start replacing a position. And I want to know if this is something we're willing to sit down and have a discussion on a continuation of benefits for the individual that takes on that leadership role, both the current and the future.
For the healthcare savings plan, if someone were to come out and would we fund the healthcare savings plans like we did for the others for the years of service?
Yes.
So that's, again, I mean, we can have that conversation reverts back to the same conversation we had last year, where I understand that was the county's motivation, but mathematically it won't be beneficial for that individual. And that's why I'm here, because there's not just myself, the undersheriff, and others that have been serving at the county for greater than 15 years. That $1,300 a year in service isn't anywhere near the benefit that they have currently, on top of the fact that somebody that's, you know, here for the 15 plus years has no ability to achieve that compound interest benefit. If you started now, it's a decent, great program. I mean, again, you start now, it's a great program, but that's not the individuals I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that are here right now that have, a period of time. I personally feel like this is a situation that we can solve. I feel like as a board and, in collaboration with April, I feel like we can sit down, we can come to an agreement and understanding that advancement doesn't mean a loss of benefits to an individual. It's the right decision, and I feel like we can get there, and maybe it just needs some honest dialogue, and that's what I'm asking for. But I am asking for that to be a little bit expeditious because, again, I'm dealing on timelines.
In our meetings, Chad and I talked to, I told him I'd reach out to other counties to see how they handle promotion within. And there's one county that, and him and I, we've had the same county, Misaki. And I have to ask Jason how they handle it, but if somebody goes from the union and promotes to undersheriff, they take the union, non-union benefits, but then for some reason they have it so when somebody goes to retire, it's as if they revert back to a position within the union so that they retire with their union benefits. I don't know how Misaki handles that, but that was the one case where they have something set up like that.
And again, as we had that conversation, I recall something like that being discussed. And again, like it makes sense, but it seems like you're jumping through hoops that are unnecessary. You're accomplishing the same goal, but you're making this two-step to get there. To accomplish the same thing, you just say, if you're working someplace and you take on a leadership role, you don't lose a benefit, you retire, you keep your benefits. If benefits change amongst that group, then benefits would change amongst that entire group, and you would have to acquiesce to that. But whatever you started with, you end with. That's the goal.
Basically comes down to that. What's it gonna cost the county to keep their union benefits?
Well, yeah, I mean, there can be essentially a dollars and cents aspect of this as well. But again, what I'm looking at is the county as a whole and as an organization wanting and promoting the best people. And the job, nobody here is getting rich, but to take on a leadership role, to lose a benefit, to sacrifice a benefit isn't right for the individual. And I don't ever want to look at somebody and say, you're the best one, but you don't want to take it on because you're going to lose a benefit immediately. So yeah, there's a dollars and cents portion of this, and I agree to that. But to me, there's a much greater, and that's a service and setting every office up for success. And that's what this is going to promote.
I understand what you're talking about for the promoting within the county, but it comes right down to it is just how much is the county have to pay. I mean, that's kind of the stumbling block of the whole thing.
If they took a 10-year benefit, what do we pay? Like, for example, this year, what are?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at right now as we start asking that question. So the retiree health program is single insurance for the individual. They do not get family insurance, it's single insurance. And there is a stipulation in that if they are a spouse, if they're married and their spouse has insurance with their employer, or if they are eligible for another insurance at another job, they don't qualify, so they wouldn't get it. So there are stipulations in that. So it's not a guaranteed. Say somebody retired and their wife worked and had insurance at their work, then we would not pay for their insurance because they can get it from that. Of course, my computer's going slow. Single insurance annually. It would cost $7,000, just under $7,000 this year in counties portions, plus the HRA, which is another $5,000. So for the HRA, so $11,875 every year of insurance. That's 10 years.
So you're talking
So $120,000 approximately.
Of what they're currently paying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what we're doing now, the reason we switched it to the healthcare savings plan is we were putting that money into the fund every pay period and back paid it into their service years so that they had it, it's theirs. After 5 years of being here, it's locked in for them. And when they leave employment, that becomes their money. And nobody can touch it. The county can't take it back. We can't do anything. And so we put in for how many years the person worked, $1,300 every year, and we already funded that.
So, and again, that program, and you know, we're kind of rehashing the old conversations here, but that program is fantastic for anybody that's starting. I don't think it's a bad thing. It sets the county up for a known, and it sets an individual up for a potential nest egg at the end. The difference is somebody that is later in their career they will retire with half of somebody that's starting their career, because they will not have 15, 20 years of compound interest being accrued. That's the math that doesn't work out. Again, I'm not saying the program, I think longevity wise, it makes sense for the county. I can appreciate it. The difference is anybody that's been here for a period of time has no ability to see that compound interest happen. And that's the issue we're running into, not just with my office, with others, but you're losing that benefit coming out of the union of this guarantee, that guarantee, you have X amount of years of service. I'm trying to correct, or correct might be the wrong term. I'm trying to ensure that I and every other sheriff can promote the best person possible, not based on whether or not they're going to lose X amount of money or X benefits.
What's the
When I
union?
say money, I mean the benefit.
Just
What's the
curious
union?
about that 120,000 a year for insurance and HRA.
Yeah.
It's more than they make for their salary. How can that be?
Insurance costs go up every year.
Yeah.
Our insurance rate was 20%,
Can't believe
28%.
they Pay 120,000 a year for insurance.
No, that's for 10 years.
For the 10.
That's for the 10-year period that you would pay.
10 years.
Yes. So right now, our insurance, our cost is at 80% is just under $7,000 for a single person. Plus the HRA is another, so make it 12,000.
12,000 a year.
Now, every year that rate goes up. So you can expect it. It's been going up 20, 30% every single year for insurance. So that 7,000 next year goes up higher and higher and higher. And we always pay the HRA plus the deductibles portion of it, because you know how we pay an employee goes to the doctor visits $40. We pay the
Misunderstood. You didn't hear you say the 10 year.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be the cost for the 10-year period of 55 to 65. And then also with the union benefit currently, they get that retiree health stipend after they turn 65. That's another $2,400 every year for life.
So, and you know, this is, the dollar and cents portion is important, but I am talking specifically right now about my office. Now, this should be a more holistic conversation about others as well. But right now, I have to move forward with an individual. I have to identify somebody. And right now, I'm in a position where that person's going to lose benefits potentially by advancing and taking on a leadership role. I have a current individual that's losing benefits because they're getting ready to retire. I'm talking current and future undersheriffs with the understanding that when whatever they started in, if it changes, then it changes, and they have to move along with it just as well as everybody else. But because you decide to step out of the union and take on a leadership role, you shouldn't lose that benefit. Otherwise, no, you're exposing yourself, and you're potentially not advancing an individual that has a benefit because they're afraid to lose it. And my ask of this board is that at least are you willing to have an open, honest conversation about it? And I don't mean that derogatory in any way. I just mean, are we able to sit down and have that conversation so that I can move forward with selecting my next undersheriff and know what I can offer that individual? Because I'm optimistic on this. I feel like we can, this is something that is achievable. When I say current and future, I'm talking current and future. I'm talking current undersheriff. Future undersheriffs aren't losing any benefits the moment they become an undersheriff. They keep whatever benefit they had, as if that thing never happened.
Just having a long-term, I've been a long-term union individual.
Yep.
What does the union feel about that? Because in our organization, you're in the union, you take on a supervisory role, it switches, you're done.
And you know
There's
when you
nothing-
switch
There's
what?
nothing that's.
Well,
yeah.
and again,
And that's a known thing when you take that role on. I mean, that's just a known thing when you're in the union and you flip, you know, when you go into that supervisory position. But that's going to happen, I guess. You know, that you're asking for an exception to the rule for unions all over the place. I mean, I've been in
Well, that's, I'm
unions for
not, this
over
isn't
40
a
years.
precedent setting for private sector individuals. I'm talking specifically about Montmorency County. This isn't precedent setting. I'm asking for this county, for our sheriff's office, that the sheriff has the ability to promote the best person, and that best person doesn't have to lose something because they decide to take on a leadership role. That's all I'm asking. It's not, they're not gaining anything. They're just not losing because they decide to take on a more administrative or leadership role. It's not a gain. It's just not a loss, because it shouldn't be.
So if it was a captain's position, who would promote that person into the captain's position?
I'm not doing, there's no discussion on captain.
He's not entertaining a
No,
captain position.
I know he's not.
Oh,
I'm just looking,
I'm sorry, then what?
It'd be the sheriff that promotes that position.
the sheriff would promote him.
Yeah, all positions within the
So-
office would be at the selection of the sheriff. Again, like, not to get into sticker brush, but the creation of the captain position would create a lot of operational inefficiencies and issues. If the sheriff and the captain had issues, had disagreements, the captain could ultimately grieve the sheriff. Well, that's creating a unique, not viable situation. And that's why it's not a common situation. So you know, that's, sheriff's office aren't organized that way for a reason. And I'm not gonna, I don't want to set any other sheriffs up for this position. That's all.
That create problems if you got sick or had to quit for some reason to have a union captain take over for you?
Well, I think ultimately it ends up being a board, you know, no, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's a panel that selects the next sheriff, if I'm not mistaken, but that's only happened once since I've been here.
And not only that, to add a captain position, the union would have to be in agreement with it as well. So Chad could say he wants it, but if the union ultimately doesn't want that, it doesn't happen too.
I don't want to just fill dead air, but what I'm asking for is, I guess, a commitment from this board to have the conversation, to allow us to have that conversation. And
Meeting or forum some kind to discuss it more, or that we're doing right now?
It's up to this board if they want to make a motion to pursue this, or.
So that's our conversation yesterday with Chad. Instead of him and I continue to talk about it, if the board was interested in pursuing an option, then you guys can make that decision today, or if you're not, at least we knew what we were dealing with.
I have no problem pursuing that option.
Are you making a motion there?
Make a motion to pursue the option of looking into benefits for any motions to the undersheriff position.
Maintain union benefits?
Yes, or not all union benefits, what was it?
well, it'd be pension retirement, it's just retirement
Pension
benefits,
retirement
pension retirement
benefits.
health.
Do you want to read that back? Cheryl?
No. I just have a motion by Brent to pursue option of looking into maintaining pension retirement benefits for under sheriff position.
That's what I said.
Is there support? Any support? Fair call. Is there support? Fails for lack of support.
Very, that's disappointing, but I guess what I'll end with is this conversation did not happen the last time this decision was made, and this issue was identified. Mr. Madison, you actually were on the board when we created an agreement to protect exactly what we're talking about right now. And this is disappointing that we still, to this day, can't sit down and have a conversation about this, to check on the viability, and I'm talking about the undersheriff position. I advocate for all the others that were affected by this, but right now I'm talking about my office, and that's what I have to move forward with. And the board, the decision of this board not to at least, again, have an opportunity to sit down is beyond disappointing to the office, to elected officials, to the community, to not ensure that we have the best people leading the office, and those best people don't lose a benefit the moment they advance to a leadership role. That's very disappointing. And the only,
I do believe we hear you. We're done with that conversation. Thank
okay,
you.
so I have to continue to address it because I have to move forward my office. And my goal was that this olive branch, this opportunity for conversation would be a door to open. And it's very disappointing that you guys just closed it again. Thank you.
Well, and just for your, just unless I'm mistaken, we had legal discussion about making contracts for positions at the.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
The
No,
legal counsel said
you're
that was
1,000.
not,
You're correct.
that was not permissible.
County council said that it wasn't permissible. Now, that's obviously at every court. How many attorneys do you have? And how many sides do you have?
Mhm.
And then the judge makes that decision. So you're right. This could end up being that attorney judge decision. And that's what the avoidance is, that was the hope, is that this doesn't have to be somebody trying to advocate for something they worked their entire careers for, 24, 28, 30 years. And they lose a benefit the moment they're getting ready to leave. That's absolutely absurd. Again, I'm okay, and I applaud the county for making efforts moving forward, controlling costs. That's the right thing to do. You don't do that on the back of the individuals that sacrificed their entire adult lives and professional career right at the end. Like, right at the end, you took everything that everybody sacrificed for and pulled it out from under them and gave them $1,300 a year for service that is going to cover absolutely nothing, maybe 1-2 years of marketplace stuff. That is discrimination against a group of individuals that have served this community and this county for a very long period of time. And all I'm asking for is nothing more than having an open conversation to say, can we resolve the issue, unintended or not? We all make mistakes. We all make choices with maybe not all the information. We didn't think about everything. I do it. Super fallible guy right here. But I can go backwards and look and say, you know what? Because I made a bad decision doesn't mean I can't make a good decision today. And that's what I'm asking for this board to do. That is it.
Well, we've spoken. Thank you.
Yeah, you have. I appreciate it.
They don't care, don't want.
Opioid settlement, additional participation agreements, resolution 2026-08.
This resolution is, there's 6 new remnant defendants that have to be added to the settlement that we have. The attorneys gave us the resolution to add those people onto our settlement. So we'll get payments from them as well. Would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
Whereas the county of Montmorency filed a lawsuit to address the public nuisance that is the opioid epidemic. And whereas Associated Pharmacies, Inc., J.M. Smith Corporation, Louisiana Wholesale Drug Company, Morris and Dixon County Company, North Carolina Mutual Wholesale Drug Company, Inc., United Natural Foods, Inc., and their subsidiaries, 6 remnant defendants have negotiated proposed settlement agreement for eligible entities. And whereas the proposed settlement contains an agreement for 6 remnant defendants to pay a combined $97,625,000 in cash to resolve pending opioid related litigation. And whereas the county of Montmorency previously executed participation agreements for the distributor and Janssen settlements, the Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walmart, Walgreens settlements, and Kroger settlement, and Sandoz settlement, and the secondary manufacturer and Purdue Sackway settlements, which have conferred and continue to confer valuable benefits. Now therefore, the county of Montmorency authorizes the execution of a participation agreement for the remnant defendants settlement. This, so I need a motion if you want to continue.
Jim makes the motion. I'll support.
Okay, so this, what happens is I will sign the participation agreements for the county, and it'll just join it into it, and we'll receive our payments from them. It's distributed among all the counties that are in it, so that $97 million goes to all the state of Michigan.
Is there a timeline for when they're going to distribute?
They start distributing right away, usually, once we sign on. It comes in, it's usually like a year plan, and they'll tell me exactly what that payment plan will be once we've decided to join in.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Madison,
Yes.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin. Yes.
Motion passes. Your, end of year assessment. By Amber.
The STC has decided that instead of signing one nice little form that gives us all of our county final numbers, they want forms signed for each township. So the first 16 pages are each township's assessed values broken down. Page 1 is your at Polarum, and page 2 is the special acts parcels, meaning our general. At the end of the day, no one wound up with a factor, and Board of Review closed out so nicely. Our new assessor in Avery, I am quite happy with how she handled the end of the year. I'm so happy that I do not have another assessor like I did last year. Our end numbers for the county as a whole are sitting at $1,172,852,800 assessed value. That is not our taxable. Our taxable is about half of that. Currently, I don't have all the disabled veterans in to take away from our taxable. That stuff will be done in May before we get our millage reductions. But we are looking at under 700 million in taxable, so it's a quite a big difference between our assessed and our taxable, meaning we have a lot of long-term residents. Beyond the 4037s, which need to be signed so that the ones for the townships can get turned over, there's also the 4024, which is just a restatement of everything that's on the 4037, just in horizontal format instead of vertical. And the 4023, which is a vertical retelling of the 4037 with ratios to show you that we are all within the 50% that we need to be without getting a state factor. Every form from the state has the exact same numbers, just changed up if it wants to be horizontal or they all flow into one another. I can't make changes to any of them, so I can't even edit one to make it look nicer. So the only thing I need is signatures on all of the forms to turn over to the state.
You need a motion for that.
Yes, please. There should be like 20 or 22 spots to sign.
And I asked her if we could do a DocuSign and she said no.
Yeah, trust me, I wish their rule was DocuSign because it would make life easier, but no, they want physical signatures. And then they want you to scan and email them. So why do I need a physical signature? So I'm scanning and emailing.
But anyway. So I make the motion to sign. What do you want us to say?
It's the 4037, the 4024. I think the 22s in here needs to be signed. Yep, and the 4022s.
Okay, the 4037s, 4024, 4022.
Yep,
And what was the last one?
that's it.
Okay. So that's the motion. Do I have support?
I'll support.
Motion and support, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion passes. The treasurer office, I don't see Lindsay here.
That's okay, I can handle it for, Elizabeth resigned as her position as chief deputy treasurer, and Camille Laporte will be taking her place. And so this motion is to update the county bank accounts, effective immediately with removing Elizabeth and adding Camille. And Cheryl, you did get a copy of this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is every bank account we have and the ending suffix of them. So we can, and I reviewed them with Lindsay, so we have everything. Because Alpena Alcona is very picky about how they like things listed, so we did it just like this. So this is saying we're removing Elizabeth, adding Camille, and so the new names listed will be as such, and then every bank account we have with all the different banks. So I need a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to update the county of Montmorency bank accounts effective immediately. And Cheryl, however you would like to add all that information, I will leave that to your discretion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? No, since it's dealing with bank accounts, if we would do a roll call, please.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes,
Madison.
Yes,
And motion passes. Without objection, we will adjourn. It is 10:05.